Hello, and welcome once again to Know Before You Go, a program of the Dominican Central Province of St. Albert the Great that allows us to take a look ahead at the upcoming weekend's readings. I am Father Jim Marchionda, Provincial of the Chicago Dominicans, and I am happy to be with you once again as we approach the 28th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings this weekend are from the second book of Kings, Paul's second letter to Timothy, and the Gospel of Luke. And the theme is pretty much gratitude. And it's a theme of gratitude that I believe helps us to endure suffering, helps us to get through our sorrows, and helps us to persevere. For me, I believe the theme is not just gratitude, but the idea of using gratitude to move us to a higher level and to a deeper level at the very same time. In the first reading from the second book of Kings, we hear the continuation of the story of the Syrian Naaman, who had a skin ailment and who had gone to the prophet Elisha looking for a cure. And Elisha suggested that he plunge himself into the Jordan River 7 times. He was angry at that at first, thinking that there were better rivers in Syria. Why should I have to go into the Jordan River? But his aides convinced him to listen to the prophet and to do as he was told. He plunged himself into the Jordan 7 times, and upon coming out the 7th time, had skin as clear as a newborn baby's. And he raced back to the prophet Elisha, wanting to shower him with gifts to thank him, and also making the proclamation that now he knows there is no God except the God of Israel. So it was a wonderful conversion for him because of the miracle that he had received, the cure that he had received. But what the point of the story is that he went back to Elisha wanting so much to thank him and to express his gratitude. That sets up this theme of gratitude that this Sunday gives us and is paralleled by the Gospel of Luke and the story of the 10 lepers. The 10 lepers who came near Jesus asking to be cured. And Jesus just sends them off to show themselves to the priests. And along their way, they were cured of their leprosy. And one of them, not a Jew, one of them, a Samaritan, turns and comes back to Jesus to thank him for his cure. And you know that story well. You know that he says, were there not 10 cured? Has only this foreigner come back to thank me? But once again, it's the story of gratitude. And it's a reminder to me, both through Naaman the Syrian and through the Samaritan in the gospel, reminder to me to remind us of the importance of gratitude constantly in our lives. How grateful are you in your life? And how do you use your gratitude to get through the tough times? And not only to get through the tough times, but to elevate you to a place in life where the tough times no longer have that much power over you. How do you use gratitude in your perseverance? The second letter of St. Paul to Timothy, sandwiched in between the first reading from 2 Kings and the Gospel of Luke, is Paul's letter writing about his own suffering, to the point of being in chains. And yet he's still talking about the glory of Jesus Christ and the glory of salvation found in Jesus Christ. I believe that we are invited this weekend, the 28th Sunday of Ordinary Time, to focus on gratitude. Not just once in a while, not when we just experience something really positive for which we want to praise God and say how grateful we are, but as a way of life, gratitude as a way of life, as a foundation for living life, so that no matter what life dishes out to us, no matter what life deals us, we are so grateful for so much in our lives that the negative cannot have as much power as it may want to have. I have a very practical story that says how I tried to put in practice exactly what I wanted to share with you this weekend. Last night I was at a beautiful banquet that was given by the music company that publishes the work that I do. And when I drove home and got to my priory on the south side of Chicago, just as I was going to cross the street, all of a sudden there was this loud sirens of fire trucks and ambulances coming toward my house. The fire truck pulled right in front of my house, and I went running across the street and into the priory, meeting a couple of the Dominican friars, one of whom had been suffering with a tracheostomy in his neck, and it had come out. And the poor friar was gasping for breath and so struggling to breathe. I threw my habit off and I put on a shirt and jumped into the ambulance with him, and we went to the hospital. And for the next hour, it was one of the most intense scenes I've ever experienced. At one point I counted them, at one point there were 12 medical people in the room working on him, trying to help him get his breath and regain his calm over not being able to breathe. And while I was in the hall pacing back and forth and looking in and making sure he could see that I was there and that I was supporting him, I was walking through all kinds of people on stretchers and wheelchairs. There was so much going on. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to preach this weekend on gratitude. And I thought, I need to practice what I preach if I'm going to preach it. So I started praying in gratitude as I was listening to all this commotion and observing his anxiety and his fear and realizing that I was pretty much full of anxiety and fear myself. I decided I needed to pray in gratitude myself. So I started saying Hail Mary after Hail Mary after Hail Mary. But I prayed the Hail Mary in Italian. I figured it would get there faster in Italian than in English. And it was interesting. I prayed in gratitude for all of those medical people that were helping my brother. I prayed in gratitude that we have access to such kinds of care in our hospitals. I prayed in gratitude for the fire department and for the police that were at my priory and who were encouraging me as I was trying to encourage my brother. I prayed in gratitude that as difficult as this all was, we believe in a God who was with us through it all. By the end of my time in the hospital, and of course he had to stay overnight, I was able to spend some private time with my brother holding his hand. He asked me for his blessing. I made sure he was okay and he was all right to spend the night, and he was calmer than when we went in the ambulance together. And I was just so grateful for his peace as I watched him there. And I was grateful for our brotherhood. I was grateful for our community life. I was grateful for that even in these emergencies, we still have a foundation of fraternity. We still have a foundation of community. We still have a foundation of care and love for one another that really can help us endure anything. I was happy to be able to try to practice what I preach in preparation for sharing the readings with you this weekend. The 28th Sunday of Ordinary Time is going to teach us about gratitude and about giving thanks, not just once in a while when we get what we think we want or need, but as a way of life. Gratitude as a way of life that actually lifts us up to a different level and helps us not only persevere through our sufferings and our sorrows, but actually depletes our sufferings and our sorrows of their power. Gratitude as a way of life is what the 28th Sunday of Ordinary Time invites us to consider. God bless you all.